This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 146. Stop chasing werewolves. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in a better direction, if you're already in the business, or the right direction if you're new to the business, I've created a free strategic plan that's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. Freeagentgift.com. Get over there, get a copy. Okay, here we go. Stop chasing werewolves. What do I mean? Well, I was just finishing up on a coaching call today, and I just can feel people that know our strategic approach. They know it clearly, and they just go off the path. And if you've ever watched the movie, and it's a good one, Werewolf in London, they tell him, stick to the road and beware the moon. And of course, he doesn't. And they get attacked by the werewolf. And that's what it feels like watching agents who know better, who have a good formula, or telemarketers, or client care managers, or a closing coordinator, everybody who has a good system in this business, and just off they go into the poppy fields with Dorothy, and bad things happen all the time. I coach against those moments, meaning when I say I coach against them, I help people through those moments to see for themselves. Do you see where you were just going so perfectly? And then you took a hard right turn. Why'd you do that? And there are a lot of reasons why people get off that beaten path. But let's just talk about, how do you fix it? Let's just cut to the chase. Well, you have to really start with that end in mind. What are you after? And I don't mean the check, because I don't believe in that either. Your ultimate outcome should be that you want a happy past client who's likely to repeat and refer. That's the ultimate outcome in a real estate transaction. So you want to stay focused on that whenever possible. But in the microcosms all the way down the line, you have to remember at each stage, what do you want? So in my model for the Realty Classroom, outside of marketing, the next stage is conversion. So that's the module I'm in. And what does that mean? That means taking a contact who has the disposition of lead. We don't know anything about their timing and their motivation to buy or sell. So we want to take them from that stage into the prospect stage, where there is a real reason to buy or sell, and it is a high level of motivation, let's say a 9 or 10 inside the next 12 months, right? That's the most important part of it, and we create an avatar or ideal prospect out of that. And then if we will do what we're supposed to do, then that becomes a client's opportunity when the timing is right. And in very much less competition or less competitive arena if we do this correctly. So what that really tells us is the first point. You want an appointment that needs to a client when you're early on in that conversion module. So many of you are out there trying to go get these leads, and you have leads coming out your ears, but you've never really thought about the outcome. How, when it goes right, do I create a client? I'm not saying that you don't think about it, especially top producers. You get them all the time. You give it some thought, but you really don't slow it down enough. So what you want is that appointment. But you never really ask yourself, how do I arrive at that appointment the best way? I see so many top producers abdicate the responsibility for outbound telemarketing to somebody that's super undertrained, maybe doesn't even speak the same language in the first, that's not their first language. And it's almost like, what are we doing here? You're making it so difficult on that telemarketer who doesn't come from your culture, who also doesn't even understand what you really want, other than, I want an appointment, I want an appointment, I want an appointment. Oh, that didn't work for me, you say. So I just think that's the travesty that's going on in this business. Let's just be real about it. I mean, it doesn't matter where the telemarketer is or where the agent is. Everything's going virtual these days. It matters more so like, how do you arrive at the best appointment, which then helps you arrive at the best client? Follow me? Like, it's pretty simple. So you keep going with the next point here. You start by looking at the fact that you need an offer that's different. So let's go back to these werewolves. So today I was doing a sales training. By the way, if you want to see the Realty Classroom sales training, they're all recorded and given away. You can go to my YouTube channel for the Realty Classroom, go to my Facebook page for the Realty Classroom. They're there. You can listen to me doing this. And it's live because we give it away so that we can make it better for the consumer. We can make it better for the agents. We can make it better for everybody. And what you'll hear, and these people are all trained by me in a very systematic way, but sometimes we're refining that system. We're trying to figure out the outcome because the lead is a little bit different. The expectation of the owner is off, whatever it might be. So we start with the offer. And we start by helping them understand that you need an offer that's different. It can't sound like all this same, right? And a lot of people say, well, it's impossible. We all do the same. We don't really. That's the craziest thing that I've learned over the recent history is we don't do everything the same. We think we are. We muscle sellers and buyers through a process similarly. Universally, they're the same process. But the way that you handle that person on top of that process is different. And so that the way that you offer them, and some of you aren't even making an offer, you're just bulldozing people. Look, I hear this all the time. I just got off of a recruiting call right before the recording of this one. And the reason why the guy is magnetically drawn to us is because we are the only ones that gave him any helpful information that with or without us would help him be successful in his career as an agent. It was that simple. It was that simple. I'm telling you. So whether it's agent recruiting, seller recruiting, buyer recruiting, start off with an offer that's different. And I would, really make a point that what really it should be is service. How can you truly serve that person? See, offers that include your best stuff for free are very powerful. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not giving away anything. See, there's the problem. You're your own werewolf in that case. You're not going to give anybody some information for free and you expect them to do business with you. Why? Because you work at a certain brand, because you have a certain resume. It's ridiculous. This is a service business. So be of service. And that alone is different by giving away that service to people. But again, with that offer, I like a plan. I like to offer the seller, the agent, the buyer, whomever I'm talking to, a plan of what to do. It doesn't tell you how I would do it with you, but it's what to do. Look, with or without me, be careful. Here's a well-lit path. Stay on this well-lit path when you're buying. Stay on this well-lit path when you're trying to sell. And here are some properties that will tell you others that have traveled this path. This is what happened to them. This is what their story looked like. See what I mean? It's just not rocket science to curate that kind of information, put it together, and offer it to people. That's different. But like I said today, while I was training, I can see where undertraining, even under my own watch, happens. So when I have a top producer that I'm training in our elite mastermind and they start to bring in agents or telemarketers or client care managers, there are a lot of different positions that as they build out their true company, not this team thing. Yes, they're team members the way that we do it, but not this ridiculous conglomeration of agents who might be tripping over each other. It's precise. It's organized. So when these people come in, they all must understand along that assembly line what role they are really playing, how they are really playing a serious role in helping that person against that plan and that information that we're giving them. So everybody needs to learn the offer. Everybody needs to learn the plans, and they need to be trained into their brains over and over. In fact, I tell everybody, if you mail something to people as an offer, mail it to your telemarketer, mail it to your client care manager, mail it to yourself. See what it's like to get one of your packages. If you're watching this online, I'll hold them up here. These not manila, because they're gray. But these gray envelopes and then my presentation packages, it's all succinct. It's all part of the same precise offer package. It stays consistent, right? So I'm looking to make that offer of information organized and curated to empower that person so that the appointment then makes logical sense if they're ready. See what I mean? Like if I make an offer of information and your timing is sooner than later, and you're ingratiated by the fact that I've even offered information, it's an easy upsell to say, well, gee, you have a real reason to sell and your motivation is a 10 out of 10. Would you prefer that I brought it to you? Because that way I can give you some of my insight and I would tell you how I would do it if I were you. So I've gone from what to do with the information on how I would do it if I were you, but I need to be in your house to do that. I need to show you some properties if you're the buyer. I just went out with a high-end buyer who came all the way from the West Coast the other day, and I was following a very clear system. Very clear. is that he knew that we were representing him. He knew that coming in. He knew that we had talked about financing, so we knew how he was going to finance this. He knew what that kind of money could buy because we were showing solds. We weren't just saying showing for sales. We're showing solds. Here's what the money bought. Would you have bought this? And we made his first round trip here well worth it. And he said, I didn't expect to fall in love with this area, but you really knew us. Well, did I really, or did I just take him through a process and watch, observe, and listen? See, the offer is I take you through a process. The offer is not I have a long resume. Any of you could do it. So that's what an offer is, and that's how different it can be. I have a plan for you that I'll take you through. Amazing that that's different, but it is. Because everybody's rushing. Everybody's undertrained. Nobody's thinking. Everybody's trying to do it out of desperation and muscle. It's just ugly. So the next point is this. Now, as you begin to learn that, you need simple and precise language to communicate. People that make it complicated, it's just people are getting lost because you're trying to sound interesting, intelligent, whatever you're doing, but that insecurity, that intellectual insecurity that you have is complicating what you're saying. I'll be precise in the way that I communicate this. When I was reviewing these telemarketing calls today, the minute somebody got off the beaten path or the well-lit path, all of a sudden you could hear, one even said, I lost my train of thought. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. How are you this far off? What does it look like where you sit and you're being precise? What does it look like? Yeah, I should be in another. No, what? You are trying to serve somebody. You need to have the articulation of the offer in front of you so that if you're having a bad day or somebody says something crazy and you get thrown off, you know where you are. Some might call it a script. Okay. And I'm cautious of scripts. Scripts are for actors who are really, really good at making it their own. This is a guide. Some of it can be memorized and it's precise and it's there, but it's very clear. And the benefit is to the consumer because you're not when you get on the phone and all they have is what they can hear. So you need precise language to communicate. And when I go in the house, I am extremely precise. There was a day when I used to give 2-hour presentations and think I was so great. What they were doing was surrendering. That's what they were doing. I'll give you a listing if you just stop talking. Now it's precise. Now it's empowering. Now it's, may I have the nickel tour? May we sit down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's the math. Here's the net sheet. Any questions? Are you ready now or will you be ready shortly? What can I do to follow up? Just boom, boom, boom. Precise and simple. So that every time I leave somebody, I leave them better than I found them. I'm going to say that again. Every time you leave somebody when you hang up the phone, or you leave them for the first time meeting them in the field to show properties, or even at an open house, or a listing presentation, you really have this higher calling in your mind that you left them better off than you found them, and you communicated it simply and with precision so that they weren't confused when you left. In fact, that's a huge competitive advantage. You leave the materials, you leave the language that just left them very clear. Are there any questions before we end? Nope. You've made it very clear. I'm sure some will come up. No problem. We understand that. Please don't let me lose the business on additional questions that come up. Not at all. You will be the first. And you can feel that confidence in their language in you. Begins to draw them in. They begin to trust you because they don't feel like you're trying to won over them. They understand that they're included in this conversation. And I say it all the time to my coaching clients, people will support what they help create. People will support what they help create. So if they feel part of the creative process with you, in the creative process is the relationship. You're co-creating a relationship. Does it feel two ways? How's it feel when you're in a relationship and somebody's always talking over you? Nobody's listening to you. It's ugly, isn't it? Happens a lot in business. So the last point is, once you begin to define this well-lit path, stick to it and stop chasing the werewolves. I mean, literally, it's crazy. I can hear people go along on something they've learned for a long time. And, it's so great with Zoom these days, as long as, somebody doesn't mind being recorded in a Zoom call or whatever it might be. It's so great to see how you really behaved and how you really helped them or not, because it's almost shocking that out of fear, out of unpreparedness, just there were a lot of factors that can make this happen. All of a sudden, off you go into the London night, and you can hear the werewolf coming your way. And when I say the werewolf, what I mean by that is failure. You get eaten alive by your own mistakes because you just didn't stick to the path for whatever reason, myriad reasons, which means many reasons, right? Everything could just go way off. So don't be your own werewolf. That's really the point here, because if you just make it clear when something works for you, and you don't need my exact plan. I mean, this is all universally sound. If you will just walk somebody through the process left to right and understand that the outcome that you would want if you were them. See, that's the key here. Just treat this golden rule 101. Treat people contextually in this business the way you would want to be treated. Now, even if you're a rookie, get some training. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The universal steps of the buy side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Universal steps to the sell side. Just learn those basics. We want to make our training in this industry so dang complicated. And I get it. I'm in the middle of taking a bunch of licensure tests as I expand my bricks and mortar. Well, not my bricks and mortar. I shouldn't even say that anymore. My virtual company across the country and into Canada. I'm taking multiple license tests. And it's just law after law after detail, and it's important. But most of that is covered in a contract. So at least this company that was teaching brought us to the contracts that we would actually use. And when you go beyond your understanding, now you're into lawyers, especially title companies, other pros. So that's great. And it's really important for compliance. But where is the coaching training in this business to show us how to simplify and just take somebody through a simple process? You see, what causes all of the errors and omissions, insurance stuff, is rushing, cheating, cutting corners. And that's because we're not understanding ourselves how to go through the process. Forget about all you sleazy people out there that just are trying to hurt somebody. You just don't belong in this business. And I hope you get caught. But the rest of you that are in this business trying to do the right thing, but you stumble and fall, slow down. Stop running off into the woods. Be trainable. Be coachable. Be mentorable. That's the rally cry now at Griffin Realty Group, right? Trainable, coachable against that, mentorable, we're right there for you in the thick of the moment. That's the idea. And that's what helps stay away from the dark and the werewolves. All right, let me summarize this. Please stop chasing werewolves. How do you do that? Well, just remember that the end in mind. You want an appointment that leads to a client, okay? That's what you want. You all want that. Everybody's white-knuckled for that. Relax and start with the fact that you need an offer that's different. And my best suggestion is show them the simple process, be of service, okay? The next point is you need simple and precise language to communicate that offer. Don't ramble. If you find yourself getting lost, you're just not prepared properly to articulate the simple offer that you have. Get better prepared. Train on the simple and precise language. And then once that's all in place, stick to it. Stop trying to get lazy and forget. And don't do that. Focus. When you do business, focus. Stick to the well-lit path and stop chasing the werewolves yourself. You're the one that's going off the well-lit path and into the dark, okay? Stop doing that. I'll summarize it this way. Too many real estate agents are disconnected from the outcome that after each stage, the outcome that they want, really, after each stage of converting a contact into a client, okay? So they're disconnected from what's happening one stage to the next. And therefore, they end up lost along the way, only to lose the opportunity and get eaten by the werewolf, which is oftentimes themselves. So stick to the well-lit path of your system by serving people the way you want to be served, and they will see why they would be lost without you. All right. Now remember, you can take immediate action, get started in the right direction with a copy of our free agent plan. It's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. I'm telling you, we give the same thing away in my brokerage, and people are just ecstatic that somebody would take the time to basically take them through the process. You do it. I coach top producers who are doing, let's see, 400,000 to 3 million and beyond actually now. This is what we coach against. Freeagentgift.com. Get started. That's what to do. You can figure out how with me on these things or get a coach, whatever it would be, but just get the plan, will you? Also, don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We'd also appreciate it if you would comment on our post. Look at comment anywhere. I'm trying to watch for these comments so that I know what you're thinking and we can further help you that way, all right? Now, remember, I sign off the same way every time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So go get to work on your own business, and I will see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks again.